Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. If you're new to the channel and you could subscribe, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate that a lot. I hope you enjoy the video, and let's talk a bit of boxing. So, right, there's this expression, isn't there, that people frequently use, you know, living in someone's head rent-free. And I've noticed that this is frequently used, this phrase, but it's nothing new. And if I had to give an example, a modern day example, I would say that Eddie Hearn is living in Leonard Ellerbe's head. Not just rent-free. I think he's getting all his utilities paid for as well by Leonard. Okay, so why is this? Why is Ellerbe so obsessed with Hearn? Well, it's not difficult to understand why. I think the fact that he's so obvious about it is a little bit surprising, because you'd think he'd have more of a poker face. Someone like Bob Arum, who's 90, he doesn't give a fuck, you know, because he's 90 and he's got 1.5 feet in the grave anyway. He's like, I'm not here for long, I might as well say what I think. He insults his own fighters. But Ellerbe and the whole PBC thing, you'd expect them to have a bit more of a poker face about this subject. Basically, Eddie has shaken up the market, or rather DAZN has shaken up the market. They've gone over there to America. You've got a bloody foreigner coming over to America. And if you know anything about America, I mean, I lived over there for over 4 years. It's a very insular country. I don't want to generalise too much. I'm not insulting Americans. I know a lot of Americans. I was married to an American once. But at one point, you've got to say that it's quite an insular market. America is the world, and then there's everyone else. So a foreigner comes over and with deep pockets, courtesy of DAZN, and says, right, I'm throwing money around willy-nilly. I'm beefing up the market. So your Arums and PBC, and when I say Ellerbe, by the way, of course, you know, and we're talking Mayweather Promotions, and also Al Heyman, they're all thinking, what, you mean you're going to pay him that? Well, that means I've got to pay him that, or more, to get him to be on my card and not yours. This is nothing new. You know, if you go way back, I mean, using British boxing as an example, you had the old cartel system of Mickey Duff, Jarvis Astaire, and they ruled British boxing, and if a boxer wanted to get anywhere, he had to accept what was offered to him. Crumbs from the banquet table. You know, George Francis, Jarvis Astaire, Mickey Duff, the old system. Around and around they went. Along comes Frank Warren. We all know Frank likes a bit of litigation. Started taking people to court for restraint of trade and so on and so forth. And he broke into the market. So he shook it all up. More recently, you had Eddie Hearn with Sky, when he got his Sky deal. That tore everything up. Suddenly, it wasn't all, you know, small hall shows and leisure centre shows. It was, you know, people being paid serious money. You know, the market was elevated, and competition is within capitalism. I'm no capitalist. I mean, I'm an old style socialist, but if you're going to talk about the capitalist model, for it to work, you need competition. So Eddie comes along and creates new markets. Not least of all, he revitalised or resurrected, you might say, the pay-per-view market in Britain. And suddenly fighters were getting paid huge amounts, and people like the old school guys, Warren, you know, it's really just Warren, isn't it? Hennessy, maybe, Frank Maloney or Kelly Maloney got out of boxing for whatever reason, and Eddie ruled the roost in Britain. And then along come DAZN, and Eddie links up with them, and now he's doing the same thing in America. So Ellerbe, I don't like Ellerbe. I don't like the way he comes across. He seems to be Mayweather's bitch. He seems to be completely disingenuous. You don't get an honest answer out of him. He doesn't seem to live in the real world. I think PBC, Mayweather Promotions, Ellerbe, I think they all had the idea to create a sort of UFC model. They were, you know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, they were signing up any boxer who had any sort of ability. They wanted to create that PBC model where everyone else was on the outside and they were inside, insular. We'll fight in-house. But DAZN aren't letting that happen. And Matchroom are, you know, stirring the pudding and pushing up the price of things and sticking their beak in where it's not wanted. But yeah, to get back to the original point of this video, Ellerbe's attitude is very, very strange. I mean, it smacks of, well, it's not strange, it just smacks of someone who's been spoilt and is suddenly getting irate because someone said he can't have an extra helping of pudding. A pudding being what he is, to be honest with you. I don't like the guy. I watched him interviewed. He never ever seems to be honest. He seems to have a slight Don King element to him. Minus the ability to put on cards, have 5 world title fights. You know? I mean, King was some kind of scumbag, but you can't argue with the quality of the cards he put on. I remember going to see a Mike Tyson. It was the first Mike Tyson Bruno fight I saw on closed circuit telly in Leicester Square and in Leicester Square Cinema. And the card was amazing. You know, it was like 4 or 5 world title fights. Julian Jackson was on there. Yeah, he was always on the undercards of King fights. Yeah, I don't know whether any of these fighters got paid, but for the punter, it was great to watch. But Ellerbe, I think, also apart from the fact that or PBC, apart from the fact that Hearn is stealing their thunder, they're not very happy with the numbers they're getting. I mean, the tank fight against Cruz, I haven't heard the number. I've heard that numbers are not good. I haven't heard the exact numbers. I don't know if they've been revealed yet. By the time this video goes out, they may have been. Spence isn't doing what he should be. Their fighters don't fight enough, especially the heavyweights. For some reason, the heavyweights are overlooked. We've got, what is it, Martin and Ortiz on pay-per-view. I mean, do me a favour. Those poor American punters, and they expect to pay for pay-per-view for that garbage. It's, yeah. So, and by the way, I'm not specifically pro DAZN and anti PBC. I don't like the PBC model, but at the same time, you know, DAZN are offering a far better product, so I'm supporting that. But I have no inherent horse in this race. I don't care who promotes who. I just want to see good fights. And I'm not someone who says, yeah, Eddie's British, go Eddie, you know. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. I really genuinely don't. Hand on heart, I'm in mother's life. I don't care about who. I don't like fanboyism. I think it's cretinous. I think it's pathetic, this sort of devotion some people have. I mean, Mayweather's been retired for years, and people, you go on any boxing forum or Facebook page or Twitter or whatever, Mayweather this, Mayweather that, no one could beat Mayweather, Mayweather. Oh, get a grip, for fuck's sake. And, you know, to be honest with you, some fans of British fighters can be like that. You get the Fury fanboys. It's not that Mayweather was not a brilliant fighter. He was. Fury's a great fighter too, but just this sort of slavish devotion to people. I mean, get a fucking life. You know, it's kind of pathetic, or it's embarrassing, really. But anyway, I'm rambling. So what do you think about the whole PBC Eddie Hearn thing? I think it's kind of funny that he's shaking everything up, but Ellerbe, PBC, Mayweather. I've never liked Mayweather as a person anyway. I think he's probably, well, he's a woman beater, isn't he? And a bit of a scumbag. But and anyone who's obsessed with money and who calls himself after money, it ain't my thing, mate. It ain't my thing. We all got to pay our bills. But if you think money somehow defines you or is some sort of godhead, then you are living in the land of the pixies and the fairies. But the whole cult of PBC seems to be somewhat in danger of imploding, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. But if it was to implode, we still need someone to rival DAZN, because again, you need competition to make the whole capitalist model work. Anyway, what do you think? Leave your comments below. Yeah, have a nice day. What can I tell you?